instead of a written assignment, I decided I would talk to you about the Wiki assignment. This gives me a chance to throw in some information about how I envision this project in the class and why it's important to me. And it also allows me to talk about the project itself and my expectations. One of the things I want you to really know, though, is that I want this to be as much your project as possible. So there are a lot of decisions that all of you will need to make, and you'll have to work out a process that is convenient. Please keep in mind that there are people who live far away, and there are people who have children and maybe elderly parents to care for. So you're not all going to be available physically to meet at a spot to work on this. So a lot of this is going to have to be done via email and via Blackboard. So the Wiki is a project that in this class is going to be used for, in my words, building knowledge. Wiki is both, or is all three, a product, a method, and a process. Wiki is basically a piece of software. It's a software that encourages collaboration. It enables collaboration. It's designed so that a lot of people can contribute to a big project. It has been used as a way of building a database. So the Wikipedia is basically a huge database. Or another way of talking about a database is that it's a collection of information. And probably it's better to think of it as this collection or a built aspect of information, because it's not just recording facts, but it's recording people's interpretation of information. In our case, it will be interpretations of various other definitions and interpretations about rhetoric through history. In addition, Wiki is a way of working together. This project requires everyone to contribute. People who don't contribute fairly will have an effect on the project. It also encourages a certain kind of working together. So it allows me to make an entry, and it allows you to come in and correct that entry. You don't have to get my permission. You don't have to send it through me. You can simply do it. It makes us egalitarian. In addition, there's a function on the Wiki that allows us to talk about definitions. So if I'm hesitant to just change what you have in your entry, I can post a comment about the entry and say, what do you think? Should we use this quotation or this quotation? In addition, this is going to end up being a product. So the project is going to result in something that you can take with you, and you'll be able to download the finished product. And it is a method and process of building information. You guys could work face-to-face and compile a physical product, a hard copy product. But instead, you're going to have something that's online, and that can evolve over time, not unlike language itself. So our rhetoric wiki is going to be a collaboratively built encyclopedia of keywords in the history of rhetoric. We've already talked about keywords. You've just taken an exam that asks you to provide definitions for some keywords. And the definitions will take very much the same form. It's also a project that allows us to work together and take different roles on: composing, editing, and designing. At a certain point, everyone is going to do composing, but at a certain point, I'm going to encourage you to identify yourselves as primarily composers, editors, or designers of format, and we'll talk about that as we go on. In addition, this is a project that allows you to think about how we build knowledge in a culture and a society. I think you'll learn a great deal about the influence of personality and the influence of talent on the sort of project that you're capable of building. And you'll see both the frustrations, the negative sides of group projects. But I think you also will be encouraged by group projects and the way in which engagement starts occurring for certain people and how they become very committed to their work. The requirements for the assignment are the following. Everyone in the class must initially compose 3 entries, and those should be significant entries of keywords. And everyone should take part in the editing, composing, and/or formatting, that is the styling of the product. You'll be evaluated on the extensiveness and substance of your contribution. I expect for some of you to probably have more contribution than others, but I hope that everyone has a substantive influence and that you are available to others and provide your voice. In addition, you will be asked to evaluate your own work and the work of others, especially including timeliness, so that I can know what problems that you've had working with one another. Finally, all entries must make reference to a theorist and must use a quotation to support them. And they should refer to more than one theorist. Eventually, you'll need to answer some questions. What should the product look like when you're done? What keywords should be included in the project? At the beginning, I hope that we will have no limits on the keywords that we put in the list. But eventually, we might need to combine entries. In other instances, we may need to delete entries because the keywords are getting a little less key than other words. How will you distribute work fairly? How will everyone do their fair share? And how will you encourage people to contribute in ways that make use of their gifts and talents? How much citation is required, and where is that going to be? Who is actually going to do what? Once we get down to the last bits of this project, you're going to have dates and times. You're probably also going to want to appoint a coordinator of the overall project, someone who is in charge of logistics. That person does not need to be responsible for any other task except the initial contribution of 3 entries. So think about who would be a good coordinator and who would like to take on that responsibility. It's a very important role, but your work doesn't affect directly the appearance or reading of the wiki so much as it does the way people work together. Finally, we need to talk about what needs to be done. And initially, you need to get entries written. At some point, all entries need to be edited, and those edits need to have some sort of style or shape. One thing that's not on here is format. It turned out last semester that format had a really big impact on the editing sort of approach. In addition, you'll have to have someone distribute work and be in charge of checking to make sure that work has been done and getting to people to let them know that work is expected. In addition, I would like for that person to stay in touch with me so I can be the bad guy and come after you if you're not doing what you're expected to do and get work reassigned. I love this project. It gives us a chance to create. It gives us a chance to think about the role of style and editing in projects. We can contemplate the project that is democracy, the way in which collaboration is integral to the way we live. So I would welcome your questions and concerns and problems, and will do anything I can to help you out. Thanks a lot.